Good morning, evening, or middle of the night, you little captive muffins out there. Today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic is on captivity and the fact that we are all held captive. We are in this imprisonment mainly from one observation, that at the heart of anything we crave, what we ultimately want is freedom. To want, the etymology of the word is to lack. That means to want it. Whether it's wealth, belonging, some interim symbol that you think will get us to that freedom, that promotion, that recognition, making partner, finding a partner. On the other side of it, if you really ask why you want that, it's because at the heart of it, what you, me, everyone you know, what we crave ultimately is freedom. In other words, what we lack, what we want is freedom. Therefore, if we lack it, then we are in captivity. Swamiji has a great lecture on YouTube, which we'll link to in the show notes, of if it is still public. Sometimes they're only public for a few weeks at a time, called Born in Captivity. I highly recommend that lecture because it expounds on this invisible prison that we feel. A prison that doesn't take but 30 seconds of reflection to realize what we are craving, what we are wanting in X, Y, or Z is freedom. Therefore, we must not have it. You don't want something that you have. It doesn't take much imaginative thought to realize that we do not feel free. It might be gold bars in the prison walls, but it is a prison nonetheless. For all of our hopes and dreams and expectations of life, for it to be of immense abundance, we all live a pretty limited existence if we are constantly chasing freedom. But are we looking for it in the right direction? Within Vedanta, all of the misconceptions of freedom, all of the false milestones, achievements, pursuits that do not provide us freedom, liberation, are called misguided mumukshutva, misguided pursuit of the self, of freedom, of liberation, moksha, nirvana, heaven, all of these terms pointing to the same thing. The misguided pursuit is like someone chasing heroin because it gives them this feeling of freedom. However temporary that feeling is, however much of a hole they find themselves in on the other side. Drug use is a common example of misguided mumukshutva, but everything we chase in this mundane, relative world is misguided mumukshutva, according to Vedanta. So, in other words, everything we chase is like the heroin addict going for that needle, thinking it's going to give them the reprieve they so badly want, only to put them further in the hole, further imprisoned, further into captivity. What is it that you're chasing that is the symbol to you of freedom? For many of us, it is some symbol of, or in some direct way, peace and prosperity. But let's take prosperity for an example. Prosperity is where your means surpass your desires. So where is freedom in this equation? Your means are surpassing, are exceeding your desires. You could increase your means, or you could decrease your desires. And I'll say this, that if we don't have a control on our desires, increasing your means does not necessarily mean that your desires are stagnant. If you don't have a control on them, I know from personal experience, they are like a fire that will rage on, that will never be satisfied, that will consume more and more and just grow and grow and grow, especially the more you feed it. So without any control on that desire, it is impossible to be prosperous, to feel prosperous. For peace, the other thing that the Gita tells us that we are chasing, peace and prosperity, that other symbol of freedom. The equation there is your understanding exceeding your conflict, meaning that conflict on one level is harmony on another. You want your white blood cells to attack whatever pathogen you've breathed in. You want your body to have that conflict on one level so that you can have harmony on another. That peace comes from your understanding exceeding your conflict. So you can get that by decreasing your conflict, which is just as much of an infinite pursuit as trying to raise your means above your desires. Or you can raise your understanding. While limiting your conflict, you are focusing on raising your understanding. These two things are also in our control at all times. Raising our understanding through listening, reflection, observation, experience, and decreasing our desires. One by one, building comfort in the discomfort of not getting what you want or growing out of what you want, attaching to something higher that gives you even more satisfaction than that fleeting, temporary satisfaction you get from that literal or metaphorical drug. Those two things are in your control, increasing understanding and decreasing desire. And within those two things, according to Vedanta, lies freedom. This has been another daily reflection on the Daily Vedantic. Drop in a comment, a suggestion. Make friends in the comment section. Hit the like button if you enjoy this content, or the subscribe button if you want more of it. And we'll see you next time on the Daily Vedantic. Thanks for listening to the Daily Vedantic. This reflection is part of a free repeating 2-year course in Advaita Vedanta. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Upanishads, arguably the oldest philosophical texts on earth, you can begin with episode 1, which gives the 15-minute overview of the whole philosophy of Vedanta, or you can join the journey with any episode at any point. But the critical aspect of this course, of understanding and mastering anything, is to study and reflect, even for 10 to 15 minutes on the timeless each day, preferably at the start of your day. As is said in this philosophy, reflection is 100,000 times as powerful as listening. So listen, journal, sit with, discuss these concepts, or ask questions at thedailyvedantic.com with our AI-powered chatbot, informed by about 700 episodes here, as regularly as one can, if you want to see clarity and peace almost effortlessly unfold in your daily life. And if it doesn't result in a near immediate increase in clarity and peace, then toss aside and feel free to never listen again. One of the things that you might notice is after 7 or 8 days in a row, this doesn't feel like a discipline. This feels like a visit with a best friend to dive into the timeless with daily reflection. Within a few days, it becomes one of your favorite parts of the day. You can also find out more, including news about in-person events in Los Angeles and beyond, at The Daily Vedantic on Instagram, or through our weekly newsletter at thedailyvedantic.com. Additionally, check out the links in our show notes for more resources like the books that are mentioned most frequently in the episodes, including Vedanta Treatise, perhaps the simplest and most straightforward read on this philosophy I've ever come across. Until next time, and from the entire team that works on the Daily Vedantic project, thanks for listening.